Late today, Miami-Dade County alone has 1,191 or 2 cases of COVID-19. That's more than any other county. Miami-Dade's Mayor Carlos Gimenez has issued a dozen executive orders in the last 2 weeks and daily updates via video. And as you see, he is right here with us via Skype. Mayor, hi, and thank you for waiting. I know we're just feeling our way through this too. Glad you're with us.
It's my pleasure. How you doing, Glenna?
Great, thank you. And in my email, pretty much every day, I get another executive order from you. Late last week, you put them all under what you're calling the safe at home protocols. My question to you is, in all of these orders, you are urging people to stay home, but there is no order to stay home like Broward County and other jurisdictions. Why?
Broward County doesn't have an order to stay home either. All these safer at home initiatives are basically the same. That you're safer at home, you need to stay at home, but you can go out and you can do those things that are essential to your life, and you can go to your grocery, go to your pharmacy. Even if you look at Miami Beach's order, the same thing. You can go out and exercise. There's a lot of things that you can do that are essential, and so that's the confusion that somehow there's some kind of a lockdown. There's not a lockdown. What it says is, you're safer at home. Stay at home as much as you can. If you have to go out and buy some groceries, you can. If you want to go out and buy pharmacy, you can. If you have to get some gasoline, you can. If you have to go out to your work that happens to be essential, you can do that too. When you do that, though, you must, and this is a rule, you must stay 6 feet apart. And that includes at your office for office workers or wherever. All the employees have to remain 6 feet apart. All the patrons have to remain 6 feet apart. I put out a new order recently that said that all these businesses that are open have to have clear markings so that you have social distancing. That's a rule, that's an order, and that's something that we're enforcing. As a matter of fact, over the last 2 days, we've had 7,237 visits by the Miami-Dade Police Department to businesses to make sure that they're enforcing that. And we've only had 81 that were non-compliant. We gave them a chance to comply, and they have all complied, so they haven't shut them down. But really, that's what this is all about. And we really try to get a more consistent kind of order throughout, not just Miami-Dade, but hopefully we can do the same thing with Broward and Palm Beach and Monroe County so that people aren't as confused as they are today.
I was going to say, yeah, there is a lot of confusion and people are perceiving mixed messages, and you're relying on a lot of people taking personal responsibility. Mayor, what I want to talk to you about Port Miami. There are 2 ships with sick people aboard who want to home port, and a couple of weeks ago, at a county commission meeting talking about specifically the coronavirus issue, you had mentioned that Port Miami will be having a quarantine area, that you will never refuse a home ported ship to come back. Has that been done? Where are we as these 2 ships want to come back with sick passengers? Is there a place in the port? I don't know if you heard earlier our conversation with Broward Commissioner Michael Udine, who talks about not allowing the Zandam back into Port Everglades because of those concerns. Where are you with Port Everglades?
That was a couple of weeks ago, and things had changed. There were disembarking passengers, most of them, which were Americans. Obviously, we were not going to deny entry to port to Americans coming back home, and so this is a little bit different situation. Now you've got a bunch of crew members that happen to be on these ships, and there are some ships that still have some passengers. One situation that we have that may be coming in, and I've made it very clear, the passengers that can get off have to be cleared, and they have to be healthy. They have to have a ticket, and they need to be on their way to MIA and be out within 4 hours. That's very clear. We're not going to be housing folks here in Miami-Dade, and certainly not going to be housing a number of sick crew members here in Miami-Dade because we need the capacity for our own people. And now, you said something about our numbers and our numbers of positive cases. We have about 1,192 cases. But Glenna, that's not really the number that I look at. I really look at the availability of hospital beds, the availability of ICU beds, and the availability of respirators. And I can tell you that, even though we went up another 70-something cases overnight, only one more hospitalization. We have 92. And by the way, that's a cumulative number. Doesn't really take into account all those people that have left the hospital. In terms of ICU beds, there was 308 yesterday, 306 today. Ventilators, there were 747 yesterday. There's 735, so that's only a drop of 12. We have 308 ventilators coming on the way. We have hundreds more that are being held by the state. and there are 300 actually ventilators that could be converted from operating rooms. So we have a large capacity of ICU ventilators and beds. So even beds, we have 3,691 beds available today. That's the number that I really look at. That's
May,
the number that really is indicative of what's happening. We do have a large number of the positives in Miami-Dade. We probably have something
Mayor,
in the vicinity of 28% of the cases in all the state are in Miami-Dade. We only have 15% of the hospitalizations, and not all of them need critical care. And so I don't want people to start freaking out on numbers. These numbers, positive numbers, they're going to keep going up.
I
You got to
appreciate
take a
that,
look.
and I want you to know we do our best here to report very factually and scientifically so that people do not freak out. We are right there with you and appreciate your time, and we will invite you to check back with us every day. I know you have been very accessible, and we appreciate that, but there is so much unknown and ahead of us, and so we will be checking with you daily as we have done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And
And
one more
if
thing I want to say, though, is that we're initiating a test, a clinical study this next week.
And we're going to be
And
reporting on that.
yeah,
I
okay, we'll
promise
hopefully
you we'll
get a
be
better
reporting
handle
on
on
that.
what again
The
happening here.
technicalities
Yeah.
of television involve a time clock, so I want to say thank you, and we have to let you go.